delving into the craziness of our lives, learning to live an examined life. Hey, my dear, I am Leadership Development Coach Kathy Archer, and thanks for joining today, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be here. I know that most of us as women leaders are running around chasing fires, solving everybody else's problems, and never getting to the stuff that really matters for us. And so in my work, in the live session today, and in the work I do in my coaching and my training sessions, I give you both the inner and outer tools to turn that around so you can move from surviving to thriving, both in leadership and life. Because I know that that's what happens for many of us. We're just living this life that's crazy. And so today I want to delve into that craziness. I want to talk about what to do. Before we do that, I'm going to share this into my Facebook group called Confident Women Leaders Group. And this group is, in case you're interested, for women who want to develop more confidence in their leadership. They want to figure out how to do this thing called leadership, live this balanced life, and feel better about all of that. So give me 2 seconds while I share this into my group, and then we're going to get going. If you find this valuable, please make sure that you share this, that you post it on your page, that you, do the stuff. 2 seconds, share in a group. Always got to make sure we're finding the right spot. And it is shared. So if you're finding this helpful at all as we go through this, please make sure that you're sharing it, that you're commenting, that you are, doing the things to help other people shift from that survival mode to thriving as well. So if you're on live, you can comment at any point in time, you can share this, and you can go. One other thing I want to share with you just before we get going is, for most of my live sessions, I've attached a worksheet for that, and you can find the worksheets at silverrivercoaching.com/guides. And today's no exception. The worksheet is going to walk you through some steps in examining your life. Now, let me start by saying most of us aren't examining our lives. Most of us are feeling frustrated and annoyed and irritated. We're frazzled, we're frantic, we're overwhelmed, and we can't sort of feel our way or find our way out of that. And, day after day, it kind of feels like that hamster wheel. We get up, we jump back in, and we try, and we come home at the end of the day, and we fall into bed exhausted, and we're like, there goes another day. Maybe tomorrow will be a better day. And we wait sort of for tomorrow to be that better day. And we spend a lot of time, and myself included, I am much more conscious of this now than I have been in the past, but I certainly do this as well. It's somebody else's fault. If only these people weren't driving me crazy, if only this person would smarten up, if only this person would do what they were supposed to do, I would feel better. I would be happier. I would be more content. I would be feeling more satisfied with life. And the truth is, we have to stop blaming other people. We have to start taking responsibility for our lives. And we do that by starting to examine our lives. So as I said, as the title sort of implies, we have this craziness about our lives that we just sort of live, and we never sort of step back and look at what's going on in our lives and decide if this is how we want it to be. We don't necessarily choose a different way. We assume this is the way it's supposed to be. Everybody else is doing the same thing we are, just like the little ducks. We're, barely keeping our head above water. We're pedaling like mad underneath. Isn't that the way life is supposed to be? Isn't that what everybody else is doing? Isn't that what happens in organizations? Like, that's just the way it is, Kathy. Actually, it's not. There is a different way, and you can choose a different way, and you can find a different way. But you have to be more intentional about that. You have to slow down and look at what's going on, make some clear decisions, and do it a different way. Here's a perfect example. I had a text message from a friend this morning, and she said, oh, can you meet me for coffee? She's working on a project. She needs my help with it. I could feel guilty. I could feel responsible. I could feel obligated, and I could stop what I'm doing, take a break from my work, and go help her out. Or I could step back and say, you know what? She's known about the project she's been working on for probably 2 or 3 months. So the last minute choices that she's made are not my responsibility. B, I've prioritized my next few days. I know what's important for me to do, and I know how I fit everything into my life to balance life, to make sure that I both get my work done, get to spend time with family, and take care of my basic needs. So I've made those choices, but I made those choices consciously. And that hasn't come easily. There would have been many times where I would have just went, okay, yeah, let's meet for coffee. And then I would have tried to fit everything else in and stayed up late and done all of that stuff. So if you're going to live this life where you are feeling better, and just give me a thumbs up if you want to feel even 1 or 2 or 3% better in life. Just hit that thumbs up button if you're looking for something that says, yeah, I do. I want something more in life. I want to feel like I can relax more or feel more enjoyed with enjoyed in my day-to-day world or in the work I'm doing or with my family. Give me a thumbs up, whether you're watching this on the replay or during the live session. Is that something you're looking for? Because if it is, then you have to start examining your life. And I'm going to give you 6 questions that I use, in my own life. I use them in the courses that I teach. I use them in the sessions that I speak on. These 6 questions are sort of the fundamental questions that we need to use to examine our life, to figure out if, we're on track or off track. And if we're off track, how do we get back on track? And when you can step back and examine your life, you can start to see that. So I wanted to share a quote from Socrates because, there's so much wisdom in those old philosophers. And what he said was, an unexamined life is a life not worth living. An unexamined life, meaning we don't look at it, we don't step back and get critical about what's going on, or observe how things are going, or examine the experiences we're having or the reactions we're having. That unexamined life is not worth living. And isn't that what we're looking for, is the life that's worth living? Isn't it that we want to do something meaningful? Isn't it that we want to make a difference, that we want to have an impact, that we want to end our career or our life with somebody going, yeah, they made a difference. Our family lost somebody really important to us this week, and it's been interesting to watch the posts on Facebook and the notes on the website where for the funeral home about some of those legacy comments people are making about her. And I know I want to have those kinds of thoughts about me, and I'm sure you do too. I know that when you die, when you leave your organization, when you walk out of the room, you want people to feel like you've touched them in a way that's grown them, that's developed them, that's helped them move forward, not in a way that's crushed them and made them feel like idiots and made them feel like nothing. That's not the impact we want to have. I know if you follow me that that's not the impact you want to have. I know that you want to have the impact that says, I want to make a difference. I want to grow people. I want to develop people. I want to see them blossom. I want to see them grow into their full potential. I want to see them use their strengths. If you want to have that impact, you got to make some conscious decisions. You got to make some choices. And that comes from examining your life. Again, give me a thumbs up. Give me one of those hearts if this is what you want. If you want to make that kind of impact in the world. I'm not saying that we want people to, bow down to us and, make all of these, oh my God, you're such a wonderful person. In fact, they may not even remember your name. But we want to have the impact that when we walk out of the room, when we leave the building, when we've gone through somebody's till, when we have, stepped away, that we've made that impact that made somebody's life better, that we've somehow lifted them up instead of crushed them down or pushed them down. In order to do that, to have that life that's worth living, because remember, Socrates said, the unexamined life is a life not worth living. So if you want to have that life that's worth living, you got to have that impact on people. You got to feel like you're making a difference. To do that, you got to examine your life. So I'm going to give you 6 questions that I use, as I say, in my own life. I use these in my courses, in my sessions, all of the time. These are the 6 fundamental questions that to help us to kind of step back, examine our life, and decide, is this the life that I want? And these are the 6 questions that move us from feeling like a victim to a leader. Many of us feel like it's somebody else's fault. We blame, we point fingers, we look for the cause or the reason for our suffering. You know, I'm in a miserable mood. I had a crappy day. Things aren't going right for me because so-and-so didn't do this. The contract is set up this way. Somebody else wants this over there. Somebody else is doing that. And in order for us to feel different, feel like we have control, we have to stop pushing it out there and we have to take it back inside us. So these are the 6 questions. There's 2 sets. The first 3 are kind of when you step back and you have this bigger overview of life. And again, these are questions that you need to do, you know, on a regular basis, in little short spurts where you just kind of ask yourself, but also where you take time out and do them. And so the guide sheet that you're going to get from today's session, again, silverrivercoaching.com/guides. There's a guide sheet called Examining Your Life, and there's these 6 questions and 1 extra one, so that you can do daily journaling. These are 7 daily journal prompts that are going to help you to look at these questions and start examining your life. The first one is, who am I? Who am I is basically, what are my skills? What are my strengths? What are my talents? What kind of personality am I? Who am I? Right? We're not all the same. We're not all identical, nor should we be. And this is the problem. We start to, when we lack that confidence, when we lack that sureness in ourselves, we try to blend in. We don't want you to blend in. We want you to be unique and different and special. We want you to be authentic. The most successful, powerful, impactful leaders are very authentic. They might be different, unique. They might be eccentric. They might be a little bit weird. They might have some quirks about them, but they're fully themselves. And they've done that work to figure out, who am I? Who am I when I'm at my best? How do I show up when I'm having the biggest impact? When I am most powerful, most on, who am I? And that comes down to, what are my skills? What are my talents? What are my strengths? What am I good at? And you have to start looking at those. Second question, where am I going? I mean, have you stopped to look at, you know, here I am today, but where do I want to be next week, next month, 5 years from now? Where do I want to be 5 minutes from now? Right? Where am I going? What's my dream, my goal, my vision, my destination? So who am I? And then where am I going? And then the third question is why? Why is that so important? What difference does it make? What's the point? What's the purpose in getting there? Right? Who am I? Where am I going? And why am I going there? Those 3 questions are important to step back. We should look at those 3 questions, you know, annually on a big picture. We should look at those 3 questions, you know, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. Who am I? You know, and we should be continually learning things about ourselves. Oh, look, this is some of the buttons that get pushed. This is what makes me angry. This is what hill I'll die on. This is what I stand for. Who are you, right? Get that clarity about who you are. Then figure out where it is you're going and why you're going there. So those are the first 3 questions. And when you start getting clarity on those 3 questions, again, you start to take responsibility back for your life. You start to go, oh yeah, you know, maybe I need to use those strengths more. Maybe I need to voice my opinion more often. Maybe I need to share my unique little kind of quirks and traits and stuff a little bit more. And that'll help me show up more powerfully. That'll help me have the impact I want to have. That'll help me leave that legacy and show people what I want. So those are the first 3 questions that we look at. The second set of questions, again, are sometimes smaller, but they take us back to taking back control. And they are, where am I now? Where do I want to be? And what do I need to do to get there? So where am I now could be in the moment. What am I feeling? Annoyed, irritated, angry? Where do I want to be? Feeling at peace? What do I need to do to get there? Take a deep breath. Might be a bigger picture. Where am I now? Feeling stuck in my job, feeling stagnant, feeling annoyed. Where do I want to be? Feeling like I'm in a job that, sorry, I just got to grab a drink here, guys. Feeling like I am in a job where I'm making a difference, where I'm using my skills and talents to the best ability. So where am I now? Where do I want to be and what do I need to do to get there? Well, maybe I need to take some training so that I can switch jobs. Maybe I need to ask my boss to give me another project to work on that's going to use my skills and strengths. But when we start to look at where am I now, Where do I want to be, and what do I need to do to get there? Again, we're taking back control. We're not saying, I'm waiting for my boss to give me my promotion. I'm waiting for somebody to send me on training. I'm waiting for the world to just magically get better. It's not going to happen. You have to do it. You have to be the one to examine your life and then figure out what you need to do. So the 7th question is, where do I start, right? So when you get this guide, again, silverrivercoaching.com/guides, you're going to get the Examine Your Life guide, and it's 7 journal prompts. Who am I? Where am I going? What do I need to do to get there? And then where am I now? Where do I want to be? And what do I need to do to get there? Sorry, the 3rd one was why. And then the 7th one is, where am I going to start? And it's, when you look at these questions, and I give you a little bit more in the guide so that you can get some clarity on how you do these, but basically you're going to sit down and answer these questions one after another, day after day, 7 days in straight. And let me tell you, if you spend 5 or 10 minutes every day answering these 7 questions, you will stop feeling like a victim. You'll stop feeling like your life is out of control. You'll stop feeling like you can't make a difference, and you'll start to feel like you know how to stop this crazy cycle. You'll start to feel like you know where to begin to start changing that feeling that you have of frustrated and irritated and annoyed. And it's when you take back control, when you start examining your life, that you'll start to live that life that's worth living. I wanted to read you one other quote because I think it really does sort of talk about this whole thing around leadership and how we need to be more in control and take responsibility for our lives. And this is from Jerry Bloom, who's a retired football player and Olympic skier. And he says, I've learned there are 2 types of people, leaders and victims. Leaders are those who see a complex problem and figure out either a way to individually or collectively solve it. They are people who build successful businesses and start their own companies. Victims, however, look at problems and instantly blame everyone else when they can't solve it. They are finger pointers and can rarely admit when they make mistakes. It's impossible to build anything with a victim mentality. And that's the thing. Leaders see these problems and they look at, how do we solve these? You know, here's a challenge, here's an opportunity for us to maybe get better, to grow, to learn, to develop. A victim sees the problem and says, it's everybody else's fault and I don't know what we're going to do about it. I want you to be a leader. I want you to step back, examine your life, take responsibility for your life, look at who you are, right? Where it is you're going and why you're going there. Look at where you are now, where you want to be, and what you need to do to get there. And then what's that first step that you need to take? When you answer those 6 questions and when you come back to those 6 questions, here's the thing. This isn't a one-time exercise. You need to come back to those questions again and again and again in your life. Examine those questions repeatedly. And when you do, you will start to feel that you have that examined life that is worth living. Because again, I know that's what you want. If you've watched this long, I know that you want to make a difference. And in order to do that, you need to take back control and start to make some of those differences in your life. If you found this helpful, please hit share. Please make sure you share this in your news feed so that other women leaders can also start to move from survival to thriving, so that other women can start to take back control and make the difference that they want to have, because we got to work together, ladies. This is important for us. This is important work for you to do in your organization, and it's important work for other women to do in their organization. Get the guide. Take 7 days, 10 minutes a day for the next 7 days. Go through these journal prompts, answer these 7 questions, and see how you can take back control for your life and start to examine your life and live that life that's worth living. Again, if this has been helpful for you, please hit share, and I will talk to you next week.